Human rights activist and founder of Sowore Reporters News Network, Omiyele Sowore has been reportedly manhandled on Thursday early morning inside police cell by officers from the Inspector General of Police, IGP Monitoring Unit, after the journalist honored the invitation sent him from the Office of the Inspector General of Police for a reason not stated, but the media personnel working with Omiyele Sowore in a statement on Thursday, made available through the verified personal social media handles of Sowore, said that the police presented 2 petitions against Sowore over alleged forgery and defamation of character, adding that some police officers from the IGP monitoring unit as early as 6 a.m. on Thursday entered Sowore's cell at the Force Intelligence Department in Abuja, with alleged pretense to take the media publisher to court, but when the journalist demanded to see the charges against him, he was allegedly handled roughly by a team of armed policemen. This, Barrister Adeyanju Deji petitioned the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, demanding the immediate dismissal of the IGP, Kayode Egbetoken, for allegedly abusing his office by thus using his high-ranking office in the Nigeria police force to settle personal scores. Although the Nigeria police force has not reacted to these allegations, but the force in a press release on Thursday afternoon apparently made statements in relation to the current matters involving the detained media publisher, Omiyele Sowore, by insisting and stating in the press statement that the recent promotions in the Nigeria police force was based on merit and not selective, accusing an unnamed online platform of allegedly sponsoring deliberate falsehoods to tarnish the image of the force, while also calling on officers and men of the force to desist from lobbying to get promoted, saying, the IGP has warned that any police personnel caught lobbying to get promotion will be made to face disciplinary action. According to the post published via Sowore's social media handles, the media team of the publisher said, this morning at 6 a.m., a police team led by a chief superintendent of police from the IGP monitoring unit forcibly gained entry into Omiyele Sowore's cell at the Force Intelligence Department in Abuja, claiming they were taking him to court. The team of 9 officers, including 8 heavily armed personnel, handled Sowore roughly when he asked to see the charges and notify his lawyers, breaking his arm in the process, before taking him to another police facility, the media team stated. In another post, the media said, the notorious former SARS officer, DCP Akin Fakorede, presented 2 petitions to Sowore from the illegal IGP's office, one alleged forgery and the second written by Bukola Yemisi Kuti, who was promoted to ACP because she's mistress, alleges criminal defamation. Sowore had, before honoring the police invitation on Wednesday, said in a number of posts previous day that the IGP monitoring unit has scheduled my interview for tomorrow at 11 a.m., yet they have refused to provide a copy of the purported petition against me. It is now clear that their intention is to conceal the sinister plan of the illegal IGP and continue operating in darkness. Despite this, I will honor the invitation, but not alone. I will be going with a full house. To all our revolutionary comrades, as always, we move together. Let every freedom fighter, every citizen of conscience, every voice of resistance assemble early tomorrow at the Nigeria Police Force headquarters in Abuja. Revolutiono, Egbetoken must go. They say the illegal IGP spoke today and sent fresh threats against us. We heard that the illegal Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoken, has issued fresh threats. But even his voice betrays him. His voice was cracked by incompetence, weighed down by immorality, nepotism, favoritism, tribalism. It was worn thin by the burden of failed leadership. We are Nigerian citizens who have faced down tyrants, dictators, and power-drunk men in and out of uniform. We've survived worse, and we've conquered. No amount of intimidation, propaganda, or empty threats can shake our resolve or derail our desire for a better, just, and dignified society. Aluta Continua, the Nigeria Police Force, in a statement signed and made available by the force spokesperson, DCP Olumiyiwa Adejobi, said, the Nigeria police force has observed with concern the growing wave of lobbying and unofficial requests directed at the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission by certain officers seeking special promotions. This surge was triggered by the misinformation being spread by certain media platforms following the recent approval of accelerated promotions for a number of deserving officers who have distinguished themselves through exemplary service. The force wishes to categorically state that these accelerated promotions were not arbitrary but were part of a well-structured reward system set up by the police leadership, aimed at recognizing officers who have demonstrated outstanding performance, uncommon bravery, professional excellence, and commitment to duty, and the officers who benefited were those who met the standardized guidelines for such accelerated promotion. The recent exercise does not signify the commencement of a general or indiscriminate special promotion scheme. In light of recent misleading reports sponsored by a particular online platform suggesting that the police force has initiated arbitrary promotions, the Nigeria police force firmly cautions the public to disregard such falsehoods. These reports are baseless, misleading, and intended to undermine the integrity of the force's promotion process. The NPF remains committed to transparency, merit, and due process in all personnel decisions. Furthermore, officers are strongly cautioned against lobbying or attempting to influence the promotion process through unofficial means. Such conduct is unethical, undermines the principles of meritocracy and professionalism, and will attract severe disciplinary action in accordance with extant laws and regulations. The Nigeria police force reiterates its commitment to a promotion system anchored on integrity, verifiable merit, and honorable service to the nation. Officers and men are hereby urged to remain dedicated, maintain discipline, and continue to discharge the duties with pride and distinction, the police stated. Human rights lawyer, Barrister Adeyanju Deji, in a reaction to the photograph of Omoyele Sowore's hand wrapped with bandages at the police detention facility, said, Egbetoken, the most useless IGP in the history of Nigeria police, has ordered the detention of Sowore for criticizing his incompetent and favoritism promotions and other numerous infractions. How do you promote your personal staff arbitrarily just like that? The Police Act 2020 and Regulation 367 of the Nigeria Police Regulations forbids a police officer from settling personal scores and vendetta via the instrumentalities of their officers, but Egbetoken is too shameless to care and continue to abuse his office. President Tinubu must sack him now. Egbetoken must go. In an open letter and petition to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Adeyanju Deji said, and in quotes, that, Your Excellency, with utmost respect for the office you occupy, I write to draw your attention to the deepening rot within the Nigeria Police Force, NPF, which, if left unchecked, threatens to completely erode public trust and destroy the very institution meant to protect us all. Under the watch of the current Inspector General of Police, the force has become increasingly compromised by a pattern of conduct that has brought the institution into disrepute. The NPF has become personalized and weaponized, with growing reports of the force being used to settle personal scores and intimidate private citizens. The civic space has shrunk under a climate of fear. Peaceful expression, association, and lawful dissent are now treated with suspicion or outright hostility by an institution that should protect these freedoms. More disturbingly, the men and women who serve in the police force continue to operate under conditions that are nothing short of inhumane. Reports of nepotism, favoritism, and ethnic promotions above competence and institutional framework has become order of the day. Officers lack adequate welfare, modern equipment, proper housing, and fair remuneration, resulting into the recent police protest. The morale of the average policeman is low, and yet they are still expected to perform optimally. A force that is deprived of dignity cannot enforce the law with dignity. The NPF urgently needs reform, but reform cannot happen under leadership that undermines its very principles. It is in light of this that I respectfully urge you to act decisively by relieving the current Inspector General of Police of his duties and appointing a leader with a clear commitment to constitutional order and human rights. Yours faithfully, Deji Adeyanju Esquire. Punch newspaper reported that the coalition of united political parties and the Sowore youth ambassadors have called for the immediate and unconditional release of pro-democracy activist and journalist, Omoyele Sowore, following his recent arrest by the Nigeria police force. In separate statements on Thursday, both groups condemned the arrest, describing it as a violation of Sowore's constitutional rights and an abuse of police authority. National Secretary of CUPP, Peter Ame, said Sowore's detention flouts Section 39 of the Nigerian Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression and opinion. He said the police had turned into an instrument of oppression and called for accountability. We strongly condemn the arrest of Omoyele Sowore by the Nigerian police, an act that flouts Section 39 of the Nigerian Constitution, which guarantees the fundamental right to freedom of expression, including the freedom to hold opinions and share ideas without interference. This arrest is not only unjust but also a disturbing misuse of police power, turning an institution meant to protect Nigerians into a tool for oppression and personal vendettas. This arrest is a blatant abuse of power and an affront to the principles of justice and accountability enshrined in the Constitution. The Nigerian police owe Nigerians a clear explanation for Sowore's arrest. Denying him his right to bail is indefensible and further exposes the misuse of authority to silence dissent. We demand his immediate and unconditional release, and if the Inspector General believes there is a case to answer, Sowore should be charged to court without delay, he stated. The Sowore youth ambassadors, in a separate statement signed by their national coordinator, Yahaya Abdullahi, also condemned Sowore's continued detention and gave the federal authorities a 72-hour ultimatum to release him or face protests across the 19 northern states and the federal capital territory. The group said Sowore's arrest was part of a pattern of harassment, alleging that state institutions were being misused to suppress dissent. They warned that a continued clampdown on critics could erode democratic values and civic freedoms. In line with this, the Sowore youth ambassadors hereby issue a 72-hour ultimatum to the Nigerian authorities to release Sowore or face nationwide protests in all 19 northern states and the federal capital territory. We will mobilize peaceful mass action in solidarity with Sowore and in defense of the fundamental rights of all Nigerians to freedom of expression and assembly. We call on all progressive forces, civil society groups, student unions, labor movements, and the general public, to rise in unity against the growing tyranny and misuse of state power. Nigeria belongs to us all, and no government has the right to crush dissent in a democratic society, the statement added. The police are yet to issue an official response to the reason for Sowore's arrest.
Sowore Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.